we want to talk about our courtship and how it took place. It's an interesting story. I know that we previously kind of talked about how we met and how we fell in love. We went on a date for his birthday and we had a baby. No, I'm just kidding. Hi guys.
Yo, yo.
Oh, babe, come on. Sit up straight and listen to Come on. I forgot his couple.
Lord have mercy.
Ladies out. No, we're Peterkin-DOM. We're just gonna do that. Ready to launch this channel. We have had it started a while ago, and the last time we actually put anything in was in 2018. Sorry, our dog is fussing. No, Reese's, no. We wanted to come on and start sharing some things with you, different topics that we have discussed and would like to share to enlighten. Some people want to know our business, so we're here to share all the tea. This particular topic is about honoring God and courtship. I'm sure some people don't really understand. They typically say boyfriend, girlfriend, and first of all, we're too old for that.
Well, back in the day, like the day before we were born, the day, courtship was about...
We're that old. Sorry.
Wow. A male and female coming together, and they were basically dating in a sense, but doing it in front of their family members so that they had accountability. So that way they didn't fall into the temptation of, you know, sin, get a good feel, a good kiss or something like that. So, yeah.
As opposed to a bad kiss, and a good one creates babies. That is what courtship was, and we courted because even though, you know, we're not in those times, those day and age, we do find that it is important for us to honor God. And so we were, you know, basically in a relationship before the Lord and also before our family, because we definitely involved them earlier on.
And this included our school family.
Yeah. Once upon a time, there was a very studious scholar who was studying chemistry, pre-dental studies at the Great Bethune-Cookman University, a historically Black college university founded by the late and great Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune in Daytona Beach, Florida. It was there that I was pursuing all of my prerequisites for me to become the dentist that you see today.
And here you had this guy who came out of a small town of Leesburg, Florida.
Can you find Leesburg on the map?
Yes, you can find Leesburg on the map. What do you mean?
Very small.
In any case, here I was from Leesburg, Florida, and why do you keep looking at me?
I'm listening to you. What you want me to do? Look at the floor?
Yes, look at the floor. In any case, I ended up going to Bethune-Cookman following after one of my cousins who was like my brother.
I can't believe you told me to look at the floor. You're so rude. Go ahead. You start.
Following after my cousin who really wanted me to go out to Bethune-Cookman, and long story short, I ended up being there studying music education. And we happened to be in the famous concert chorale under the direction of the late Dr. Rebecca Steele.
I woke up this morning with my mind and it was
stayed on singing.
Yeah, I woke up this morning with my mind and it was
stayed on singing.
I woke up this morning with my mind and it was
stayed on singing with the concert chorale, with the concert chorale, with the concert chorale.
Oh.
Yeah, we ain't.
Yeah, courtship is what we classified our relationship as. We did our best to do the right thing before the Lord. And that's what we're going to talk about. Because honoring God in courtship is definitely not as easy as it sounds.
Not at all.
It requires a lot of willpower. It requires a lot of accountability.
And accountability to one another, not just for yourself, but you want to make sure that you're also looking out for one another.
I agree. I like that. You're trying to get brownie points. Either way, he was sending those scriptures, and I started falling for him. And so I was sad, or whatever the case may be, and he came into the room and talked with me, ministered to me, and then he took a moment to step outside of the anointing, and I was crying on my pillow as I was talking to him. He decided to come lay next to me and just boom. Did that happen or not? True or false? Yeah, man to God.
It did happen, but it not exactly like that.
I mean, it still was the same night and within the
It
same hour.
was still the same night, but it was.
And nothing happened. We weren't, sexually involved.
Right,
or anything
nothing
like
happened.
That. He just knew that I needed a friend and took an opportunity to be that friend.
It didn't happen quite like that, dear. But okay, I'm gonna roll with that.
Let's roll with that because I think that's what happened. So we're in this relationship. Things get serious. We developed a strong trust in one another, a friendship first before we actually started dating. Sorry, guys, our dog and our kid, they want to find a reason to talk to us right now, and I don't understand why. Like, let me show you. I'm gonna show you because this is getting ridiculous.
How may I help you, sir?
Recording, and he right here, and then this one talking about he just watching the show. He's staring at us. He humping our leg every 5 minutes. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
What do you want?
I wasn't exactly a person that was into being sexually active. I wasn't very into that in general. Partially because of my relationship with God. Partially because of past transgressions that were committed against me. Partially just because I was just like, spit, like, no. So there's a lot of things that contributed to that, which helped in general. Ultimately, it worked for my good, like Romans 8:28 said. So I wasn't all over the place like that.
Oh, you might not have dated a whole lot of people,
No,
but
I wasn't that kind of girl.
Dang, such is life. And everybody got their story to tell. So in any case, when we got together, we were together. And I'll just put it like that. We were together. And when I was with the person, I was with that particular person. So, yeah. But there was a lot of temptation that we both had to face. And
and the reality of it is that did we wait till we got married to, be involved on more than a kissing level? No, we did not. That's the truth of it. I'm not gonna lie and sit here and act like that doesn't happen.
Yeah, bless the
we
Lord.
didn't. But it wasn't a regular thing, and it wasn't something that we took lightly, and we definitely repented, and we made sure that we were intentional about our efforts as it related to not putting ourselves in those situations. We did have to have a long distance relationship, so because at a point, I graduated from college, moved to Arizona to do a master's before I went to dental school in Chicago, and so we had to, do a lot of, virtual dates and communicating. But then when we would see each other, we would stay in each other's house. Like, he had his own apartment, and then when I was in Chicago, I had my own apartment. So we did have to spend time by ourselves. But I'm proud to say that during that period, once we got engaged, we were like serious, 100%. Like, if God is gonna bless this marriage.
Yeah, especially being a preacher and son of a preacher and grandson of a preacher. And like, no matter which way you turn, I just could not escape it. And so, yeah, God really, really tugged at my heart strings and really dealt with me personally, and especially because I am the man and the orders that God gave, the commands he gave to man, I had to answer for certain things.
Like you said before, aside from being accountable to God, we had to be accountable to one another. Like, we wanted to honor one another in that, and make sure that we understood that it's worth the wait. Like, if we're gonna spend the rest of our lives together, what's the purpose of rushing to do something?
Right, because you really want God to put his hand on it at the end of the day, because there is no greater blessing than what God can give overall. And so some of the things that we did throughout our entire relationship, in fact, we actually started our relationship on the basis of praying together.
Yep.
That was actually the foundation of it all for us. And we knew when we were having struggles, major struggles, arguments, even things that we didn't otherwise want to take place in our relationship, it was generally because we weren't praying together, like we started off. And we would always go back to that very foundation. So that was one of the things that we did together that really helped solidify our relationship.
Another thing that we did together was we worshiped together. And I know it's like, probably sounds cliche, but we definitely believe in a family that prays together, stays together. So not only did we pray together, but we also went to church together. So if you're in a relationship and your relationship is in the same state, make sure that you take time to go to church together. I mean, it's a way for you to commune with God in the manner in which you are supposed to anyway, and what better person to share that with than the person that you say you want to be with. I definitely did support my man in his endeavors, because people be thinking, you know, they see somebody play the keyboard and sing, make the toes curl a little bit, they start acting a little strange. I'm like, you ain't gonna let your toes curl next to my man.
One of the other strategies that we did was we actually had personal Bible studies. Not only did we study the word on our own separate terms, but we also would come together to have discussions and actually have Bible study together right on the 3rd floor of LLC. Shout out LLC.
I think those are the biggest 3 things, outside of also just making sure that you don't put yourself in a predicament. Being strategic about where you are going to be at those midnight hours, because they always say ain't nothing open this late but 7-Eleven and legs, and you don't want those legs to be yours. So when it was late, we wrapped it up, went home. Later on, once we were together for about a year and a half, and we were engaged at that time, we had to visit each other, but we were intentional about making sure that we stopped. Like, we had to be like, all right, let's put the Bible out. Like, where the Bible at?
Or I would, we would both be, get away from me at this moment, like, cause I'm hot right now. I'm feeling a certain type of way, and this is not gonna end.
You go sleep in the couch, I go sleep in the room, that kind of thing. Cause you're human. You're not gonna be completely immune to feeling some type of way. But I come from a family that's not very affectionate. Tavius comes from a family that's more touchy-feely. So I say that to say that I'm not a person that has to be hugged and stuff like that. So I was fine, but when I was hot, I was hot. So we definitely made sure that.
So when it's said and done, you must be mindful that being engaged does not mean that you are married. It's not the same thing. And so you really want God to bless your marriage. And in order for God to bless your marriage, you must honor him by basically making sacrifices, in a sense, because not all things are lawful, but not permissible. Yes. And so we wanted to be mindful of the fact that we wanted God for us, for our own relationship. We wanted God to bless our marriage. And in all honesty, like, had we not had God's hand upon our marriage, we probably wouldn't be here today.
No.
Not together.
And we, this year will be 8 years married, and a total of 12 years together, if you don't include our little three-week breakup.
That's a long time. 12 years. Jesus.
And I don't say that to like make the years mean something, because you could have 12 years of emptiness, but we really have been through a lot together. Like, most people that think they know us don't know our true story. The only people that could know most of our story is Al and Bridget. I thought she was going to say it with me.
True enough.
Al and Bridget are the only ones that probably know, I would say, 80 to 95% of the story.
Yep.
Like, they know majority of what we've gone through together without telling their business. We got together around the same time and went through similar stuff together at the same time. So that's where our bond came in at. But ultimately, at the end of the day, just keeping God at the forefront of your mind, at the head of your marriage, head of your relationship can lead to, him honoring and blessing you in marriage. And I know that he did, and I'm grateful for that. I don't like to be mushy, so I'm not going to be, but I do really love Tavius. Like, he really is, I won't say he's a man of my dreams, because I would have never imagined being with someone like him, but he's what I need.
She's making me blush. Can't you tell?
He's what I need. And he always has been. That's how it even started. I told him, I was like, I need you. I don't know what capacity, even if you just, my kid's godfather,
Did everything she
I
could
love this
possible
dude
not
so
to be
much.
with me.
Like, but I want you. I know I need you in my life. Like, you be my kid's godfather.
And that hurt so bad back then. It hurt so bad because we knew we actually liked each other. We confessed that part to one another at that time. And then she tried to relegate me down to, you know, back to friend status and stuff for a little minute. All I can really say is that at the end of the day, regardless of what other people have to say, if you're going to honor God, you must trust God. Mm-hmm. Those two go together, hand in hand. We wouldn't be standing today had it not been for us not only honoring God, but for us trusting God, because on both ends, people told us, you know,
different things,
so many different things that we shouldn't be together, we don't belong together,
but what God put together, let
no man put asunder.
All right, y'all, until next time, take care and be well.
Peace.